Hi, my name is Veronica Garrett, and this is my professional counseling skills video blog. This week, we were able to watch several videos about professional counseling skills, and the beginning video was the listening cycle. And so in this video, we learned about non-judgmental listening and how that the art of silence, that the counselor is able to listen without judgment, and to use silence and to use verbal and nonverbal cues to encourage the client to share. How the counselor uses silence in those moments where typically in a conversation that way it might be awkward or quiet, but they use those moments to allow and persuade the client to continue and to provide content for the session. And so from that, we saw the verbal and nonverbal cues where the counselor would say, "Tell me more about that." And the counselor would also say, and say yes. And so then we were able to witness the nonverbal cues of just the nodding of the head, where the counselor is engaged and actively listening with focus on what the client is saying. And so then from there, we were able to see how at times a counselor would paraphrase what the client had expressed to ensure that the counselor had understood what the client was expressing, and even for the client to feel confident and comfortable that the counselor is also listening to them. And so in the textbook, it mentioned that this is like drawing a picture and asking, is this what you were talking about? And being able to modify or to adjust this picture of the conversation to reflect the client's true feelings. And so using that moment of getting and gathering information through paraphrasing allows the counselor to begin to do something called reflective feeling, and to be able to go back and assess and to go back and paraphrase what the client's true emotions were in the incident or situation, and then the client can affirm or else modify if their feelings were somewhat different. But even so, this allows the client and the counselor to continue to establish this warmth of a relationship. I noticed that in the beginning of every session that the counselor greeted the client with warmth, and so that began to establish that caring relationship and build that trust. But once the counselor had gotten down to the last portion where there was just the reflective meaning, and it was going through all of the previous parts of the session, where from the nonverbal and verbal cues, the client had provided the content of the session, and that the counselor had been able to paraphrase and to reflect upon the client's true feelings. And now the counselor comes to the moment of establishing a meaning, the reflective meaning of the feelings and the whole, how this situation has affected the client. And so this process, the client is skillfully navigating, the counselor is skillfully navigating the client to a place in the conversation and discussion, and doing it with skill that they don't have to use words. And so I found that to be very insightful and very helpful. Was the counseling what I expected a counseling session to be like? In many cases, I would say yes. I expected the counselor to listen to what the client had to say. But then I would say, on the one hand, the fact that counselors don't actively give advice as often, that was very interesting for me, and I found that to be very beneficial in my reading as well as in the videos, to witness how in the different instances with the different counselors that they were actively listening to what the client had to say and very engaged, but not executing instruction or giving advice. So this is my professional counseling skills video blog. Thank you for watching.